What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does. And by God, the Biden administration is destroying the country. I know, surprise, surprise. I'm saying the Biden administration is trying to destroy the country. But they most certainly are. And we have the court cases and all the facts to back that up. The Biden administration's Title IX. We covered this a while back. We covered that some states were filing lawsuits against Joe Biden's Title IX. They're trying to eliminate the differences between sexes, and they done a whole hell of a lot more than that. As a matter of fact, this new Title IX, it's just insane. It's ruled by decree. It's not, Congress makes the laws. It's Joe Biden makes the freaking laws, right? But we all know that Joe Biden's mentally gone. He's not really doing this. It's people in his administration that are doing this. So we have to abide by the rules that people in Joe Biden's administration are just making up. They're trying to eliminate the differences between sexes, right? If you just claim to be a woman one day, now you have all the rights entitled to women. It's absolute BS. And the new Title IX restrictions, I'm gonna call them restrictions. They're supposed to be protections, but they're restrictions. Now, if you get accused, if you're a man, you get accused of something like in college or in high school, some sort of sexual accusations, right? You can no longer face your accuser at all. They have to be separated. What? And they're pretty much just going to go with the woman's story. That's how that's going to go. Because she doesn't have to have evidence to back that up. We know this. We've seen the court cases. But Title IX just eliminates that. You can no longer face your accuser. And they're trying to force some of these states that are getting these laws to ban transgender stuff, to ban, trans people from playing in men's sports and vice versa, blah, 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 blah. They're trying to outlaw the gender-affirming care for children, which is horrifying if you ask me, because anybody that puts their child through that needs to be slapped upside their head before they do that, because you are about to sterilize your kid. Do you realize that? It's outright insane, right? It's affirming a delusion. It makes no logical sense. We don't do that for any other mental disorder, right? Like, we don't affirm paranoid schizophrenia. We don't tell your crazy Uncle Bill that, yeah, your toaster is trying to kill you. No, we don't do that. So why would you tell a boy, oh, yeah, you can be a girl? No, you can't be a girl. Plus, why would you want to put them into a category that has such a high suicide rate? Just affirming that, they're still going to know in their heart. They're still going to know that that's not what they are. Plus, it has become a fad. We have seen that with people like Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney absolutely mocks what it is to be a woman. Right? Hiking through the freaking woods in high heels? Come on now. That is just... I'm sorry, but there's no good excuse for such behavior. But let's get into the story right quick. Biden suffers another Title IX defeat in federal court. That's right. We finally have some sane judges in these federal courts fighting back, pushing back against this stuff, because it's absolutely unconstitutional what they're doing. It's just nuts, y'all. A federal judge has ruled that the Biden administration's effort to expand the scope of Title IX to apply to LGBTQ students has been blocked in 6 more states, according to a report by CNN. U.S. District Judge Danny Reeves said in a 93-page ruling on Monday that the new protections, which are set to take effect August 1st, cannot be enforced in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Virginia, and West Virginia, while a lawsuit brought by those states' attorneys general plays out. And I hope this goes through like all these other lawsuits, because Louisiana is involved, the state I'm in, Arkansas, there's a lot of states, probably half of the freaking country is involved in some of these Title IX lawsuits, because it's highly irregular, it's highly unconstitutional. And what are these people thinking? Trying to dissolve the differences between sex? I mean, that makes no sense, folks. If you just claim to be a woman, now under Title IX, you have the same protections that a woman does. There is something very wrong with that. That's pretty much forcing. It's going to force these states to allow men to go in women's bathrooms, to allow boys to go in girls' locker rooms, in high schools, in colleges, all these places. If these kids claim to be a different sex, it is now discrimination if you don't go along with that, if you don't play ball, literally, with these people, if you don't affirm their gender. That is totally wrong. This is outright insane. I don't know any other way I can express it. I'm sorry. These Title IX provisions is ruled by decree. Once again, it's not ruled by Congress. It's not our representatives that are supposed to make the laws. It's Joe Biden's administration that is trying to make up the laws, that is trying to force us to go along with their ideology. It goes against religious freedoms for a lot of people in this country. Christians don't believe in this garbage for the most part because it's not logical, it's not natural, and nobody thinks this is okay. Even these people, they just want to act like it's all a big virtue signal, if you ask me. Oh, we want to be compassionate. He thinks he's a girl, so let's go ahead and affirm that. No, I'm sorry. You're doing more damage than you are helping. The new rules require schools to protect students from all sex discrimination, including sexual violence and sex-based harassment, expanding the definition to include discrimination based on pregnancy or pregnancy-related conditions like childbirth, termination of pregnancy, or recover from pregnancy. Compliance with the new rules is required to receive federal education aid. So, you see what they're doing with that? If you don't comply with these rules, you're not getting any federal tax money. It's basically blackmailing the states to force them to stop with all these bans on gender-affirming care and all that BS, all the banning of trans kids in the sports. It's basically holding a carrot over their head and saying, yeah, if you don't do this, you're not getting no money. It's blackmail, folks. That's what the Biden administration is reduced to, blackmailing the country to try to force us to go along with their stupid ideology that we don't agree with. I don't like it. Among other things, the changes made by the Biden administration to Title IX, the 1972 federal law that prohibits sex-based discrimination at schools that receive federal aid, aim to curb discrimination based on sex, stereotypes, sexual orientation, gender identity, and sex characteristics, according to the Department of Education. Sex characteristics? Really? Right. Sex characteristics, right? So if your boy wants to go to school dressed as a girl and you don't allow them to do that, that is a lawsuit against you. Yes, that is what that means. That is wrong. I'm sorry. You cannot tell parents how to parent their children, right? If some of these nut jobs over here want to do this, I'm going to try to talk them out of it, but I'm not going to get Trump to try to force these people to not do it. That is wrong, in my opinion. But that's exactly what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to force us to affirm their delusions. I don't think that's right. We need to call our congressmen and let them know to try to repeal these Title IX changes and force them to go back to how it was, to give women their rights they deserve and not men women's rights. But in his ruling Monday, Reeves, an appointee of former President George W. Bush, said the Department of Education would turn Title IX on its head by redefining sex to include gender identity. That's right. The department's interpretation conflicts with the plain language of Title IX and therefore exceeds its authority to promulgate regulations under that statute. The judge wrote, adding that he also believed that the changes would, in effect, require some educators to use students' preferred pronouns regardless of whether doing so conflicts with the educator's religious or moral beliefs, which goes against freedom of religion. My God. The decision comes days after a separate judge similarly blocked the administration from enforcing the protections in Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, and Idaho. Several other challenges are pending in federal courts across the country, and I hope they pass. They need to pass because this is just outrageous. There's many people out there that are pissed off. We saw governors from all over the place get out and make press conferences saying we will not comply with these ridiculous Title IX provisions, and I don't blame them.
I've said before that the dividing line in this country is no longer between right and left. It's between normal and crazy. And the most recent attack on common sense came from President Biden's Department of Education and their total rewrite of Title IX. When Title IX was first written, it was 37 words long. The message was simple. Men and women deserve equal access to higher education. In the 52 years since, there have been several beneficial additions: guaranteeing equal access to college athletics, establishing due process for harassment cases, and so on. However, last month, President Biden released a reinterpretation of Title IX that comes in at an insane 459,000 words. Let that sink in. It's a document that should scare every woman and, frankly, every man in America. Title IX was created to protect women, but Biden's Title IX attempts to erase women completely.
It's just insanity. It's outright insanity. And that's always what I mean when I say Joe Biden is destroying this country. He's trying to force people to do stuff that they don't want to do, that they don't religiously believe in. It's absolutely wrong. He's trying to tear this country apart. He's trying to force us to go in a direction that makes no logical sense. Makes absolutely no sense to me and to millions of people out there that totally agree with this. We don't want to be forced to have this crap pushed onto us. These states that want to ban gender-affirming care, that's a good thing, right? And once again, it's all in the name of compassion and tolerance. But they're not tolerant, are they? They're not tolerant of people that don't go along with their worldview. These leftists and these liberals, they get outright deranged if you say there's only two genders. By God, there's many viral TikToks of kids out there saying they got sent home from school for having a shirt that said there's only two genders, and that's it. There's no ideology in that. That's a statement of fact, and they got sent home for that. That's ridiculous, y'all. But these people out here, some of them are just crazy, and I don't understand why these liberals think it's okay to just go along with this, right? Like why they think it's a good thing to affirm these delusions. I'd like to get into one of their heads and poke around for a little while to try to figure out exactly why they think it's a good idea to push kids, just talking about kids specifically, because it's the kids that we're worried about. If you're an adult, do whatever you want. By God, you can go out there and do that if you want to. But it's going a lot further than just kids in schools, right? Like we saw, it's Pride Month. And we see some of these pride parades. They have naked men on these parade floats doing sexual acts, like grinding on each other, right? And there's kids attending these parades. That's wrong to me, right? Like, we don't allow our kids to go into a porn store. So why are we allowing porn parading down the damn street for everybody to freaking see? That is wrong to me. And the Title IX BS just goes right along with that. It just affirms that delusion and just continues to push it in a direction that it doesn't need to go. We need to bring back a little bit of normality back to this country. But I think I've rambled on for long enough. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Or do you guys go along with this BS? Or do you think it's some deranged crap that we need to put out? It's a fire that we need to dump a big thing of water on and go ahead and put this thing out before it becomes a raging inferno. Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.